with That's So True, like that was the first song I've had that like did what it did. Every time I sat down to try to write something, I felt like a little sick, kind of. And I think because I was thinking about like, how do I do something that will like, but I actually think like the way that I want to beat it isn't like a numbers game. It's like, how do I make something that makes me feel passionate, I suppose. Having been in Taylor's orbit, and she is like the most well-known artist there is, it really helps put everything into perspective where it's like, I don't really have it that bad in terms of the invasion of privacy. And like, I feel like I've learned a lot from her, obviously. But one of the things that I've felt lucky to observe is like how extreme it can be, because I think it helps right-size my own shit. I think having done the Eras tour and seeing the largest crowds in the world, it's kind of like this lovely exposure therapy where anything smaller than that actually does feel kind of comforting, despite the fact that, of course, playing my own arena tour felt like a different planet to me entirely. I do think there felt like some kind of closeness even between me and the person in the last row. It was just the best time, I don't know. It was really fun. I feel like my journaling habit is something that's forever grounding for me, regardless of where I am. And any kind of writing does that for me. It kind of just like switches my brain into this like state where I could be anywhere. And I appreciate that. On the road with touring, like even the 45 minutes where I'm doing my own makeup, there's something that is very silent, and it feels like some kind of like little meditation period where my brain turns off and I'm not like performing socially or literally. I think that hateful discourse online can't get under your skin too much if you're not engaging with it. A lot of how I feel at this point in my life in general about public perception or otherwise, it's just like, feels like an important moment to try to protect your inner peace. And I feel like any time that I've slipped into paying too much attention to that, it's like if I'm spending my days like that, it's not good for me as a person. It's not good for the art that I want to make. It's boring as hell. To be honest, like being off of social media recently has really helped me get out of the headspace of like just like numbers, period. With That's So True, like that was the first song I've had that like did what it did. And while I've never been somebody that like has felt that through the phone necessarily before, it was like there are more people telling you what's going on charts wise or radio wise or like streaming numbers, whatever. It's like that can start to like be internalized. And I actually really hate how that feels. Over the holiday, like end of the year into the beginning of this year, every time I sat down to try to write something, I felt like a little sick, kind of. And I think because I was thinking about like, how do I do something that will like beat it? But I actually think like the way that I want to beat it isn't like a numbers game. It's like, how do I make something that makes me feel passionate, I suppose, yeah. Ella Lord, I've known her for quite a while now, and she happens to do this, but is just one of my favorite people to lean on, period. Because she's like 800 years old inside, and whenever we're together, I feel my nervous system regulate differently. It's comforting that there are people like her that exist where like you know that that's a trusted person who you could always lean on. Her career arc is also one that I've looked up to forever. So yeah, such a gift to be able to ask her questions. I think almost in like pop culture, the impact that both Sabrina and Chappell have had on the industry has been so exciting to watch. And I think forget being an artist and somebody that puts music out as well. It's like, I think as a young person, there's something so liberating about both their catalogs of music and the way that they're choosing to run their businesses. It like is so obviously them through and through that like I find that to be deeply inspiring. I'm a mega fan of both of theirs, and yeah, just constantly kind of like screaming my head off for them. I adore her with my whole heart forever and ever. She's, I mean, like gave me such a shot opening for her on the Sour tour, and when she started putting music out again, that was just like such an exciting voice to hear, and she's just lovely beyond measure. So she's somebody who I feel really lucky to know, and it's like been a few years now, which feels crazy, but to champion her forever is my plan. Yeah, she's the sweetest. I can't wait to watch her Glastonbury set. I mean, all the festivals this summer, I'm just like so stoked. It's gonna be so fun. Close to you, close to you, close to you. I was an introverted kid. Like I was like writer kid, you know what I mean? Like that was just my impulse. Really like the songs that I would hear playing in the house or on the drive to school, and that was the Joni Mitchell obsession origin, like really hearing her voice forever. And I think almost having that baked into these big feelings that like then when I grew up more and was able to actually like understand her lyrics, it just hit 10 times harder. But also there's that like deep tie in knowing that my mom has loved her music forever. I just like felt emotional in that way. I never had the moment of like, I can see this being my entire life forever. It was just like, I knew that no matter what I would do for my entire life, like writing was always going to be something that I would spend my free time like dedicated to, because it was what made me feel like I could like bear everything. And when I started using Instagram as this like very impulsive, almost diary to upload snippets of songs that I'd written in real time, and I started to connect with people who I didn't know, who had gone through similar experiences or felt similar feelings. It was like, that was something that I appreciated so much immediately, and that was the feeling that I knew I wanted to try to like chase, I suppose, more than anything else. I love you, I'm sorry. You were the best, but you were the worst. As sick as it sounds, I loved you first. I feel like one of the reasons why Interscope have been such amazing partners is because prior to signing, there was already a community of people online who I engaged with often, who were always really responsive to my music when I would upload snippets, and I made them aware that that was what was most important to me, the writing and then that connection, and they seemed to value that as much as I did. So I trusted them. And I guess that was like, yeah, really like my priority when thinking about doing music for even like another year back then, you know what I mean? I was like, oh, when I look at this next year, I want the shows to feel a certain way. I want releases to feel a certain way. I want the people that care to feel like they know that I know that they care. Like I wanted it all to feel as integrated as possible. But I definitely didn't have such a broad imagination to certainly never assume, but like zero expectation around any of what's happened. It's outside the bounds of what I could have dreamed up, so. I love you, I'm sorry. Being able to trust everyone I work with to the degree that I do is probably, unfortunately, a very rare feeling, but I like lean on these women. I admire the way that they work. I look up to the way that they treat other people. I think all of us are equally invested in like all boats rising. Obviously, with this job, there's the creative and artistic, and then there's like the business person side. And when I look at my business, it's just incredibly important to me that as many positions as possible can be filled by really badass women. The last week that I went to Long Pond was at the top of the year, right before I left for tour. And it was the first time in a while where I felt like I had nothing to say. And I was actually quite aggravated with myself that I had booked that time, because I went into it being like, oh, I feel like I'm gonna waste Aaron's time right now, and his time is precious. And I didn't go in being like, this is a relationship I want to write about. This is like a feeling that I've got bubbling inside. It was more, I felt a little bit disconnected from myself. And then I think it speaks to the power of like long time collaboration when you're able to feel that way and enter a room with someone like Aaron and leave the week with a handful of songs that I couldn't have anticipated writing ever necessarily, and songs that have excited me like sonically but really thematically as well. I think like it feels undeniable that like there's such sudden and unnecessary cruelty right now in the world, and I feel like similarly to when I sit down and write about a relationship that's top of mind.
I heard that almost killed you. Well, know you cold.
Anything that I'm feeling is what comes out, really. It's subconsciously, it's shown up in some recent songs in a way that has been interesting. So likely it will be an album. likely it will be an album. But in my head, I was like, oh, maybe I'll do a couple EPs or something before this year of touring is over, and then there's like months to go in and like be super intentional. But we've been experimenting with things along the way, and I really love the music, and I think I've just been trying to like take the pressure off of myself to like have to reinvent. It's like actually there's something really reaffirming, I guess, having just been on this leg of the tour where the rooms are so much bigger, and I went in assuming that like I Love You, I'm Sorry, and That's So True would be the songs that are screamed the loudest, but it's like they're as loud as Camden, for example. I'm like, whoa.
What was I thinking, looking for a sign, as if I've ever seen the stars align?
That made me feel like I can go into this next chapter and not feel like I need to like reinvent the wheel. I feel lucky that when I sit down to write, I'm still not, still now I'm not thinking about like, if I'm like half a verse in, I'm like, what will happen when this song is out in the world? It's like writing for me has always, since I was little, been the thing that I've turned to in order to process my feelings in a way that is like most productive. I think like I've always found it easier to write about how I feel instead of like communicating it directly with people. So when I write music, that's still true. And so there's definitely nothing that I'm like beating around the bush, with. Like I think it's always quite straight to the point. I think touring is a really cool metric to like gauge what might work. Like music feels so visceral live. And I've been very excited about the concept of like not only reimagining certain songs that we've been playing, but also like as I move into tying up loose ends production-wise on some of these new songs, it's like I want it to feel powerful. And I think like when you think about a festival set, you want everything to be punchy as hell. The next step in my head, I think about the next album first. And so I hope that I don't get in my own way so much. That's my next step, is just like super hands-on, of course, but like let it be who I am, like I think is my goal, yeah.